quorum, so we're good there. So on the agenda tonight, reserve funds transfers, which are none. We'll go over the report of the Finance Committee that you've seen multiple versions of. We have meeting minutes for April 18th. We go into new business, old business, public access, and then adjournment. So, jumping in just off the, I'm going to just start, like most of you know, there's 9 segments to the book. And the first segment is the cover and the page. There wasn't a change to the cover today. Like some of the phone numbers that were in that, for your convenience part were old. So with Barbara's assistance, we deleted those out. So there was a change there made since the copy you have in draft 3. Moving on to table of contents. I don't think anything's changed there. As far as I know, all the paging is working out. I don't know if anyone saw anything that stuck out as a problem with the table of contents. All right, hearing nothing, we'll move on. After that is the report of the Finance Committee. Now, there were some changes made even today. I got some more adjustments. The changes that I know were made weren't here. So everything through reasons for budgeting, warrant articles, projected revenues, strong credit rating. All right, so really today's changes and the issues for your consideration, that last paragraph that was, I think, added where we talked about the $415,000 in interest income, that sentence has been struck because it turns out the interest income is very complicated because when it comes to water and sewer, because sewer gets interest, water doesn't. To stay within the fund, and for me to go back and recalculate it on my spreadsheet that I was doing all that work in, I didn't have time to do it today. So I just struck that sentence. So the last paragraph basically says, since fiscal year 10, spent over $2.47 million in water and sewer fund balances, and then further the lack of savings will incur additional costs. Other than that, I think everything else is still pretty much the same. So I don't know if anyone has any changes they want to point out or discuss.
Well, I had a couple that I sent you. Did you?
Yeah, I incorporated yours. The only thing I didn't was the one where you said about taking thus and including it in the middle of the sentence.
Yeah, because the way you had it, that's not a sentence.
Yeah, but it's for dramatic effect.
But it's not.
So how do you want to?
A sentence has a subject and a verb. That didn't.
Well, you know what? The best way to do this is why don't we just start at one end and work our way around and we can see what wants to change.
Either that or you do it section by section.
All right, we can do that too. All right, we're gonna break it. I like Mike's idea. We'll just do it. All right, in the welcome section of that, anyone got any comments? All right, I think that one's okay. Role and responsibility of the Finance Committee. All right, budget highlights.
I do.
Okay, go for it.
Once in the 3 bullets, first one starts the town, the second one Sturbridge, the third one the town. If that's the way, if you're just taking it out of the S&P, that's fine. Otherwise, I always go for consistency.
We can make it the town. I'm okay with that, with no strong objections.
Which one?
Under the 3 bullet points here in budget highlights, Mike is pointing out that I have the town, Sturbridge the town, to start the bullet points, and changing that middle one to the town. I think I originally started it with the language from Standard & Poor's report, but I think I kind of made it a little more sentence structure. So I'm all right with the town, okay.
I agree.
So I'm going with that.
This may be a little pedantic, but could we just say the town, colon, and then list the 3 bullets?
Put the town up here.
Said the town, and then, yeah, you did that one.
Okay.
That works. Okay.
The town, and then get rid of it, and then it becomes maintains,
Yep.
has maintained, etc. Okay.
And I'll treat reasons for budget increases in each of those as separate ones. The only other comment I had is, the last paragraph over there talks about, we have a small percentage of excess tax levy capacity. It was like practically zero.
0.26%.
We were here. I'm almost, seems a little misleading, like there's some room in there, there's a small amount of room. We really had no room left like we have in the past.
Yeah, we're basically spending what we're taking in. That's,
Where are we?
we are now in the last paragraph of those, right below those bullet points where Mike has, where I say that, it's our balanced budget that only had a small percentage of excess tax levy capacity.
What page you on?
You're on
It's the top of the second page.
page 2, yeah, very first paragraph, page 2. I mean, if you go back to the numbers I provided in my little worksheet, I think it came out to be 2.26% is how much the $12,000 that we were reported at when we were given, if you looked at page E4, basically I was trying to tell you, this is my page E4. And then, but after talking with Barbara and coming in with new revenues and adjusted for the Senate and House budget numbers, instead of using the governor's budget, we're a whopping $24 over what we took in.
So it's closer to zero versus a small percentage. It's small, it makes it seem like there's a little bit of room.
Okay.
We're using every penny we have for expected revenues coming in.
I think I mentioned the $24 somewhere else,
Do it later
but,
on, yeah.
yeah, but, if you wanted, how would you recommend that we change that? You want to, what I try not to do is keep repeating the same verbiage all the time, but I mean, I'm not, like we've just discussed, I look at this 600 times in the amount of writing it, and I just get blind to it.
Instead of a small percentage, what about like a minimal or?
It's not even minimal sounds like more, it's
Okay.
almost
Why would you
exactly.
say that used
Infinitesimal.
that used the entire available tax levy?
Immaterial?
Immaterial.
Actually, I think we're still hiding the fact that Mike just highlighted. We're basically using the entire
Okay,
tax
we
levy
just say we're
capacity.
breaking even.
Yeah.
We're projected to break
Right.
even.
It's Sarah Bell, that used the entire excess.
Out of millions,
or
that's zero.
That uses the entire tax levy capacity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna change all my.
Kevin?
Yeah?
So I wouldn't necessarily say that, because like we talked about today, the budget is still a moving target until we have, known state aid figures, we have confirmed new growth. I think I would recommend you just kind of stay away from that and just say that we have a balanced budget. I think to talk about excess levy capacity is like a great thing to do when, if we go back 10 to 15 years when we had large amounts. But I kind of think it's irrelevant at this point to like call that out when it's such a small number and will continue to fluctuate. So that $24 will be more than $24 once we know what the new growth figure is, once we get state aid numbers confirmed. None of those will happen until, the state budget won't be, if we're lucky, it'll be voted by June 30th or sometime thereafter. We won't have new growth till sometime over the summer confirmed by the DOR. To say that it only has a $24 surplus really isn't correct. That's just like as of right this moment.
So if you just put presented with a balanced budget, strike that only had a small percentage of capacity, and then the rest of the sentence is essentially our projected revenues are again just enough to match our expected expenses. I think gets the message across.
That's clear.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So leave it as it is.
But just take out the only a small percentage of,
You want a
A
small,
balanced budget, strike
period.
from that to capacity?
capacity, yep. Yeah.
Okay.
That works.
That's it.
Yeah, all right. I can see where that eats the thing. Okay.
That makes sense.
All right. So, all right, reasons for budget increase then?
Second sentence, however, without the cost of with the senior center.
No, I took that out. That's one of your
Take out
changes.
with.
Yeah, I
Bring
took
it with out of
of
it.
the senior center.
And at the end
Because
of
this is the first year the full value of the senior center project is appearing in the the budget, so I wanted people to realize that, you know, the 1.4 million of that increase is because it's the first time this thing is appearing in the budget.
But we didn't need two prepositions.
Right.
And I did have a question about, kind of jumping down, but the reasons for the budget increase, it talks about line item budget of 42.6 million. But then a couple sections down under projected revenues, it's talking about 44.14 million. What am I missing? There's like a 1.47 million difference between?
That would be, if you go to, did you get the spreadsheet I sent?
Yes.
Okay, I would imagine that counts in the raise and appropriate articles. Right, that comes out of your tax rate.
Hang on, let's go. So we're talking about
The line item budget is $42 million,
Oh, yeah,
right?
so that's the operating budget of the town, plus we're gonna raise and appropriate additional taxes for the
$654,000.
road maintenance, ambulance stabilization, all those other articles. Yeah,
654,000.
If you go to page E4 of your budget book,
That's your guiding light.
yeah,
Okay. So 44. But as somebody who maybe doesn't understand numbers, are going to look at that, and is there going to be a question? Because I like to think I understand numbers, and I was kind of confused.
I mean, I think, what I'm saying is, the line item budget is 42 million.
Okay.
But that's not the total budget, because there's the warrant articles.
The warrant
that get
articles
factored in.
additional too. Okay, all
Are they
right.
not including warrant articles then? On the 42?
Yeah.
So the 42.6 does not include the warrant articles.
Well, it says recommends a line item budget. That's, okay.
Okay.
You're saying line item budget means without the warrants?
Yeah, well, in my mind it does, but again, I've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, do
So
people
to me-
realize that, yeah.
Yeah.
so maybe,
But even if you say, okay, 42.6 is the line item, and then going down to warrant articles, we're saying raise and appropriate 649,000. That's still, that plus that does not equal the projected revenues of 44 point.
so Kevin, maybe that sentence says, your finance committee is recommending,
Well, here's where this comes in, right? The line item budget, where's my example? People are gonna look, first thing they're gonna look at is page 14.
Yeah.
Right there. That's this total of the line item budget. So you need to tell them where that number's coming from.
Okay.
So that's what I think, you know, again, you know, I've been doing this a
can I
little.
throw something out?
Sure.
Okay, so in that first line under reasons for budget increase, where you have line item budget, you refer to the line item budget under warrant articles in addition to the operating budget. So you call it two different things here, so maybe you want to call the operating budget is the 42 million, because then when you
Okay.
go down to warrant articles, it says, in addition to the operating budget.
Okay,
The
so
Finance
recommends an
Committee
operating, but,
supports.
oh, damn it. I just hit the wrong thing with my mouse. Where am I?
So that first section under reasons for budget increase is only referencing the line item budgets or the operating budget.
No, I got you.
Okay.
Oh, damn it.
So while Kevin's figuring it out, maybe before we get into the reasons for budget increase, or why don't we just call that operating budget and then kind of explain what it is and what the increases are? Maybe there's an introductory paragraph that says, you know, town meetings being asked to act on the following: an operating budget of $42 million, warrant articles, raise and appropriate warrant articles of X, you know, use of free cash, Y, and then you get into each one of those pieces, you know, as explained in more detail below, right? And then you have the three sections from there.
That's clearer, yeah.
Okay. So if we go back to the budget highlights, if we kind of put those bullet points in there, so if you want to say,
Yeah, that's the place to.
at the town meeting, the voter would be, I don't know how it would see. Because, so you're going to talk about the proposed operating budget of 42.6 point, the raise and appropriate articles, the free cash articles, and that pretty much covers all the big things we cover. There are other revenue numbers that,
Which number is the tax based on? Is it the 44 or the 42?
44.
Okay.
That's what probably people would be interested
And
in.
that's what needs to be clear, I think.
But you're still not gonna get, those numbers are not gonna get you up to that 44 million though, because the cherry sheet offsets, again, if you guys go and look at
Right.
page E4, I think this would be helpful
Well-
for you to understand where all these numbers
Well, you know
come
the
from.
spreadsheet you and I sent you that I was working from?
Yeah.
They all have it.
That. Okay, all right, but, so the town does not vote anything to do with the cherry sheet offsets, but that is part of the budget, of how we balance the budget. So when you start being very specific, the way you're trying to do, you're not, if you add up those numbers, you're not gonna
add
get,
up.
you're not gonna
I hear
equal
you saying,
the
yeah.
44 million,
Okay.
is all I'm saying.
So, because if you see the number over here, right, you see how I say fiscal year 25 plus RNA? That's the raise and appropriate articles, the cherry
Right.
sheet number and the overlay number.
Right.
They all add up. Those other two numbers, no one sees.
Exactly, okay. Well, at least if somebody does bring it up, we have an explanation is,
We've been doing this every year, right? So this is matching last year's, what we did last
Yeah.
year. So the 6.1% is tied into the 42, which was tied into last year's number, using the same model. So,
Okay.
Yes.
okay, so it has to be there.
understood. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
And then I just have a style issue. We're talking millions of dollars, and every one of these, you've got the cents in it, right? So a 42 million budget would.
Yeah, I can take the
$1 million
cents out.
Cents out. It irritates me when I have contractor bids for $40 million contracts, and there's 17
25
cents
cents.
in there, right? Just round it up to the
There's
nearest.
somewhere,
number.
there's 18 cents in here.
Yeah, so, not a fall on a sword kind of thing, I'm just.
I
you know,
think
get
it
rid of
reads
those.
cleaner too.
Yeah.
All right, as I go through here, now I'm bound to miss one since I got them all the first time. All right, so moving out of that, we're into warrant articles.
Could I make a few comments on the budget increase? We talk about the senior center, how it's being a major driver of the budget increase year over year. We talk about the senior center debt cost removed. Is the senior center debt cost part of the 1.41 million mentioned above? I'm just wondering if we can make that more concise. If we're going to talk about the senior center being a major budget
Impact, yeah.
impact, maybe we just put that up into that first paragraph, and then the second paragraph starts with more general comments about what's going on in the rest of the budget. I'm not sure why we're delineating between, why we're highlighting the senior center debt.
Because
in the first part of it.
this is the first year the senior center debt is showing up in the budget.
Okay,
So of the increase in the budget, almost half of it is the number associated with the senior center renovation. It won't be highlighted after this point, because from this point, it's,
Embedded.
so that 1.2 is part of the 3.5 mentioned above?
the one,
So we say, however, without the cost of senior center,
you're talking about the general government, not the operating. In that first paragraph, the budget of 42,600,000, right?
Yep.
The increase, if you were to look at on page 14, again, of the summary, would say 2.4 million or 6.1% is what the budget is going up.
Yep.
But the budget is going up 6.1% because 1.4 million in borrowing costs are now been added to this budget as a Prop 2.5 exclusion to cover the senior center. And this is the first budget with it in it, with the full impact.
okay, I get it, I understand now. You're talking about just sort of talking about general government in the second paragraph, right?
General government is a very specific section of the line item
Got
budget.
it, got it.
Okay.
Right, if you were to look, again, on page 14, right, you can see we break down between general government, total Burgess, total Tantascwa. So, right, if you take, I'm just talking now on what it costs to operate the town, is what I'm focusing on when you do general government.
Yep.
Okay, so let me go back to the first sentence, right? Finance Committee recommends
An operating
an
budget
operating
of,
budget of $43 million. This represents an increase over FY '24 of $2.4 million. So in there, so now all of a sudden, however, we get into the senior center. We've never mentioned the senior center before, right? So maybe isn't it deleted the next thing, of the 2 million for 1.4 or X percent is increasing the operating budget, whatever the number is, X percent is related to the senior center debt.
That's what it says.
Doing it the other way
The
around.
actual increase in the operating budget,
Right, okay, okay.
it's the difference between the 2.436 and the 1.413. The 1.413 is included in the 2.436.
yeah.
That's the way I read it.
That's what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
When I read this, what I got was this, we're making a concession or making an excuse as to why the budget's 6.1%. If you remove this, if we remove that, if we remove the fire truck, if we remove this, if we remove the tank, yeah, we can remove everything. If we remove the department heads, maybe we'll just say, rather than however, if you remove, which just kind of comes across as being excuse, the majority of the increase
It's
is,
a one-off. We're not going to have another senior center or anything like it next year.
we have
the year
the
after.
expense of the financing, right?
Next year you will.
Oh, yeah,
but it'll-
that'll be embedded.
What I'm
but
saying
it's
is,
embedded in that.
what I'm saying is the majority of the increase is the senior center renovation project, period, done, that's what it is. No excuse, it's what it is.
So you're just saying, like, apples to apples would be the 3.5?
To last year's, yes.
From last year, but why it's 6.1 is because of this extraneous item of the senior center.
One-off thing that happened.
First time it's on.
Well, it's the first time it's showing up in the
Right.
budget. It's going to be there for the next 20 years.
Well, so it's gonna be here for 20 years, so this is not a one-off thing.
It'll be embedded after that, just like the,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like the Burgess Elementary School and any other thing that was a long-term project.
Maybe you want to just say that, this increase reflects the first year of debt service for the senior center project which was voted as a debt exclusion by taxpayers.
We say that.
And then add your other
I like that, yeah.
percentage.
I didn't get that. I'm sorry, I just.
Could you repeat that, Barbara? That was very well stated.
Maybe, so let's go back to a bunch of bullets, right? FY '24 operating budget, right? Then the next one is general government budget increase, X dollars. Senior center debt, new item, X dollars.
Well, it says-
Education, because you break down how much the education goes out, Tantascwa or whatever. And then and that leads us to the $42 million, and they can see the dollar amounts and percentages and the various pieces.
I think if you say a percent or this, a portion of this increase is a result of the senior center principal and interest. Or you have to say something about it's the first year it's hitting the budget
Right,
because
and
it
that-
does, it does account for a large spike in the increase to the budget. And so it doesn't, it isn't apples and apples this year because it's a new expense. Next year, any increase will be consistent and doesn't need to be called out because it'll be the second year of debt service.
all
So
right.
I just think it makes sense to say that this year's budget reflects the first year of debt service payments for the senior center project, which was approved as a debt exclusion by the taxpayers or something to that effect.
If you start out with the majority of the increase is the senior center renovation project, and then you put in what you just said, Barb, then I think it'll complete it, right?
Yeah, yep.
All right, so the majority of the increase is the senior center renovation project, and then what Barb just said, and that's it. First year,
Or of this increase, whatever the principal and interest equals for the senior center project,
That's what's the 1.413570.
is that the number? Okay, so of this increase, 1,413,570 represents principal interest payment, first year of principal and interest payments on the senior center project, which was exempted from our Proposition 2.5 requirements. It's technically, you shouldn't call it Proposition, I mean, it is, but it's called a debt exclusion.
Okay.
or as voted per town meeting, because the people voted for it, right?
Well, it was
Now they have to
also an
pay for it.
election.
There's also a ballot.
There's two parts.
So Kevin, after the 3.5%, you could just add this amount represents what Barbara
Yeah, I
said.
think we pretty
This
much have
amount
it.
represents, and then whatever Barbara said.
Okay.
Just as an add-on, it would give the explanation without rewriting the whole paragraph. This is someone. Appropriate first. Period. And this sentence was. It's not a sentence.
All right, so let's go back. If I just highlight this, so if we stick with, the increase in the operating 3.5, this amount represents the first year of debt service payments for the project. And that just kind of highlights it. You would say, all right, so back to that. 1, 2, 3, 2. All right. Okay.
The only other thing I would add, throughout this paragraph, we talk about a dollar increase and a percent increase. When we get to the two school budgets, you just gave the percent increases. I just stick the dollar amounts in there as well, just to be consistent.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we expand that. I'm not sure why we isolate the schools, maybe just because it's the largest part of the budget, but it'd be like, here's what's going on with the schools, here's what's going on with the other major chunks, right? Education is 52%.
That's the three segments, general government and the two school budgets.
Okay.
But, I mean, I would just have to need to go to the line item budget to figure out what those numbers are.
Fact is, they're in the line item budget, and if someone wants to see those numbers, they can go to the line item budget and find it.
They could.
I mean, are we dealing with pre-primary here? We've got people, intelligent people go to these meetings, they should know how to read these documents after we've done them all these years.
I think
I
it's
mean, otherwise, documents are gonna be in 100 pages long.
Yeah, I know, it's that balancing act. But I mean, I don't mind putting it in there. The school budgets,
I'm starting to picture a little table in there that says, the three budgets, right? General government,
and see, I'm talking about an increase. Maybe it comprised 52 with a raise. I'm only talking about the differences there, not their actual.
I think you'd highlight the important stuff, that really impacts it big time. If you get too much into detail,
So, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out
summary anymore.
I think the
how you
pie
would.
chart,
I think
pretty
I was
much,
just going to say,
the pie chart kind of explains.
Yeah.
you know, in a picture, pretty much 52%
Doesn't
is.
explain, doesn't explain the increase, but that's where the
No,
information
but-
is,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it sounds like we're saying X senior center investment, the next big increase is within the general government fund is the education. Is that the most significant increase?
Not really,
Probably the percent wise.
no. I mean, their whole budget, let me go to the line item budget thing, because.
When you say line item budget, you talking about this, Kevin?
No, I'm talking
Well, that's the summary page of it. All the rest of it is the line item budget.
Okay.
these guys. Whole thing, that's the line item.
Let me just,
And it gives you years to year to year, so, yeah,
Year.
exactly. So
I got you.
it'll give you 3 years out, so you can see the percentage increase per year, so
piece.
you'll,
No.
yeah.
so line item budget, why does that keep happening? Finance. I just want to make sure I get the number right before I just put it out here. So, in the education budget as a total, it's only 543,000.
Of an
That's the
increase.
increase. Yeah. I mean, 1.4 million alone is the senior center.
Yep.
You know, it's almost 3 times what the schools came in as an increase this year.
In the picture, yeah, maybe for a little table, here's FY '24, general government.
You have
FY
that.
'24 was this, yeah, but put it in here as a little summary, maybe less words and reason for increase, or major driver in a couple of words, but we'll keep going with the format we have for now.
All right. You know, if we want to change it up, we can change it up. I mean, I used to have all types there. Years ago, those pie charts for expenses and revenues were all included in our section.
Yeah, education is 2.5% year over year. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
increase.
not- Yeah, it's not much. All right. All right, so let's keep rolling down then. There's warrant articles.
That paragraph, it's ending, the last number at the very last, is with a comma, it should be a period. The end of the sentence.
Yeah, I know, I got that now.
I sent you
So
that
the
earlier.
second paragraph, so here's the, it says regarding free cash balance. In some places you have free cash as a capitalized terms, in some cases.
They should all be
lowercase.
capitalized everywhere.
Right.
So that was pointed out to me. So I tried to go through and do it everywhere.
And then as you get to the end, it says with free cash at 19.37% of our accepted budget. I don't
I
quite
don't
know
think
what
ours
it
there anymore.
is. If you, that, you're really referring to the FY '24.
Wait,
budget.
so where are you though?
Right here. Free cash is 19.3%.
Oh, you changed it
The
to
accepted
the-
budget.
What do you mean by who accepted whatever? Oh, we're talking the FY '24.
education.
All right, all right, we could put FY '24 in there, okay,
Then I know exactly what I'm going to, what budget
Okay.
I'm writing for.
okay.
I'm good with that. I don't have anything else in that section.
Should I get rid of the 18 cents
It's
and
just the general
59 cents?
government.
I thought
Okay,
he was gonna get rid of
that's
pennies,
just general
but we're
government,
consistent.
sorry. Probably
All
just the
right,
one
so let me
line item.
just make sure, I know I'm gonna blow this. Someone's gonna ask, why did you put pennies in here? I'm not gonna round up to 2, I'm just gonna leave it as a 1.
So are you going to remove the .2 or .00 off of all the numbers?
Yeah, all the
that-
numbers,
okay.
I'm getting rid of the decimal. place.
Okay.
If I,
So you're not going to end in .00, just going to end it with,
it's just gonna end, you know,
With the dot, with the,
like this, like, see how I took the say 4,516,110.
Yeah.
No period, no nothing, it just ends right there.
right.
It makes $24 more dramatic.
So, are we in the revenue piece now?
Well, I was just getting rid of decimal points, sorry. All right, so we good with warrant articles then?
no. I got more
Okay.
stuff on this. Page 3. I had a question about.
What, you're on page 3?
Yeah.
We're not there
Warrant
yet.
articles are on- okay, I got you, okay, sorry. I thought we finished that.
No, well,
We're trying to,
we're trying to, yeah, I guess a good way to put it. Are we all good with that? We're gonna move on from there?
yes.
All right, projected revenues.
Well, not quite, if I just,
Go ahead, Larry, what do you got?
there's nothing wrong with taking off the decimals, nothing at all. If it's put along, if doing that is put alongside the long-standing claim by the Finance Committee that it takes $10 and $10 million items with great weight and seriousness and does the townspeople's legwork and is the one town body that goes thoroughly through everything, we have then lost that claim, which heretofore, at least for the last, I don't know, 25, 30 years, has been part of the opening statement. And it sets the Finance Committee apart from the selectmen, which is a good thing. Why? Because then the public begins to understand that the two bodies do not collaborate. They're not supposed to. Why? Because the townspeople are entitled to more than one point of view on everything in the budget and the warrant articles. That's why there are text boxes. We forsake all of that by losing 0.03, 0.59, 0.18. And I only mention it now so that if we do dismiss the decimals, we know what we're doing beyond aesthetics.
You think by removing the decimals, we abdicate our duty to be an independent auditor of the financials? Is that what you're saying?
It buttresses. We have to keep in mind that there are people who have lived in this town 1 week when they go to their first annual town meeting. They are entitled to full information, as well as someone who is 90 years old and went through kindergarten all the way in this town.
I hear you, Larry. I don't think by getting rid of the pennies of $43 million budgets does that. We're still keeping it to the nearest dollar. We're not rounding up the nearest hundred, nearest thousand, nearest million kind of thing. So I think the degree of detail we've looked at still comes across.
Well, as I said at the outset a moment ago, there is nothing wrong with doing away with the decimals. Let us realize a consequence of doing so, and then give such weight to the consequences we may, and move on. But to just do it because, well, one member, frankly, gets upset a little when a quote comes in on a $40 million item and includes pennies. Okay, I'm happy to vote for getting rid of this decimals. I'm just saying it is not an unadorned step. Let us know it.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go with the mass feeling, with or without the pennies. I don't care. I mean, I'm with Larry a little bit. I go through all this and calculate it all. Damn it, I got the pennies. I want the pennies. But that's just me.
That's been our convention. You start
Not
taking pennies
practice.
out, there
I'm
may
in
be a
favor of
rounding
leaving
issue at
pennies.
some point.
I
But if that's
just-
been our convention, then
I'm kind
I agree with
of
you.
leaning more towards keeping the pennies.
Leave the pennies in, and Barbara, next year when you bring warrant articles or whatever, take the pennies out so they're whole dollars and it'll be a non-issue next year.
So the only reason that you even are dealing with pennies is because of, in the special town meeting, the unpaid bill,
Yep.
which we have always put the exact amount. Everything else, we do not deal in pennies. So in hindsight, going forward, based on your conversation, next year, if we have unpaid bills, I'm going to round up to the nearest dollar.
Okay.
Someone on the,
I mean, we're literally talking one warrant article that's $54.18, which is non-material for sure.
or insignificant, a penny is
Yes.
material, but
That's fine. Put them back
it's
in. It's not gonna worth
insignificant.
delaying the
So,
conversation.
if we take the pennies out, and someone on the town meeting floor asks if it's just an amazing coincidence that there are no pennies at all,
So Larry,
then what's our answer?
We rounded.
you sold us. I'm adding them back. So I just gotta make sure I hit them all with the same old one.
Right there.
Oh, thank you. I was going back to my old one here. I think I got them all.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
All right,
Then it doesn't make
so
sense.
we had made it as far as page 2, projected revenues.
Yeah, so I guess given Barbara's earlier discussion, I'm wondering what the, whether it's $24 or $12,000 or whatever, what,
Based on the numbers we have at this moment in time, when we considering the budget, it's $24. We don't have the finalized numbers, and you won't get them until, and it's only gonna be worse next year. Next year, the prudent thing to do is we're gonna level fund revenues, right? Because we have no idea where they're going, because we're 2 months earlier next year.
We won't have a good forecast, you mean, to predict where it's,
Not really, no.
right? Which means you kind of level fund budgets, and then we end up with a special town meeting, because now we got better numbers and make up for the things that we cut out.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see how
And the
it goes.
Senate budget just came out, we would have had our town meeting by now.
Yeah, it would have been over. Yeah, that's why the changing of that date was so short-sighted, but, I mean, people voted what they wanted to vote.
Yeah.
So again, I would recommend you just put a period after the 44,145,984 and just not talk about the excess levy limit.
Okay. Scratch out the result being in excess of.
Yeah.
I think that's key to the point we're making. We're not building anything here. We're spending what we're taking in. And that if there's any shortfall in revenue, we're in a world of hurt.
So, yeah, so I'm thinking, you gave me a number, but you didn't tell me the so what about it. So if we go back to Barbara's suggestion, put a period after the 984.00 number there, and then give me the sentence that tells me that the so what. This means we really have no additional capacity for
Or
Other
therefore,
items or
we are
whatever.
breaking even.
yeah.
So, period, the result, you want that as its own sentence, being, oh, come on, Kevin. Capital T on
Put
the,
after the comma, you could put leaving
Oh.
an excess levy limit of only $24. You want to be that specific.
Oh, Barbara's, we're kind of worried about the exact number. People can do the math. The question is, what does that mean to us?
right, and the result being an excess levy, this just reinforces the point that we're spending everything we're taking in.
Can we use that sentence? This
Can I
does
suggest
mean-
this, please?
Go ahead.
Hold on. This year, as in the past several years, the town has taxed to the levy limit in order to have a balanced budget.
And we've pointed that out in every one of our books the last several years, too. Could you just repeat that? I added my own political comment there and lost track of it. This year, as in the past several,
This year, as in the past several years, the town has taxed to the levy limit in order to have a balanced budget.
I still left the $24 there, though. This year, as in the past several years.
I think if you read the two numbers and you look at them, you can see that there's only a small differential.
It's $24.
We're gonna use Jim's logic. People are smart enough to do the math and figure it out.
I don't even have to do the math,
And
I can see the numbers are so close.
The difference is $24.
And again, that's only what the number is today. It will change as we continue through the budget process.
All right, so take out the thing about the $24 because they can see it.
So Barbara, it starts with as presented to the finance committee. You want to say as of today or as of town meeting? Are the numbers going to change now?
Well, you could, it really is as of the printing of the finance committee report. That's really what it is.
Kevin?
I think that Robin is trying to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, I don't think you can, I don't know if you can see that. Oh,
No, go ahead,
And
Robin,
she's-
sorry.
Or she's not, but
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
she's not unmuted.
That may be why we haven't been noticed her trying to talk.
We thought she was just agreeing.
Yeah,
We gotta do some signs,
yeah. Oh, there you go.
flip cards.
I saw her mouth.
That's not a bad idea. She has a little sign that says, please hold.
Send money.
Yeah.
We only have $24 to send. Couldn't
I
resist.
thought it was funny. We can't hear you.
She's dialing in. We should see her dial in as a fourth box here.
Oh, there she is.
There you go.
You're in.
She's muted.
No, we can't.
I'm on now.
There you go.
So all I was going to say is, you might, when you talk about, you don't want to say you have a balanced budget because it's $24 off. You could very simply just put the word effectively, an effectively balanced budget, or you could just come up with a qualifying word in there, because it could be 24, it could be $240 by the time we get to it. I'm just thinking you could just put a qualifier word in there that gives you just a little latitude where it sort of provides comfort from both sides.
A budget that in essence is balanced.
In essence, is balanced, yeah, something to that effect. Because the public will understand that, you're not trying to hide anything, it's $24.
Yeah.
I'm hearing what Robin said. Right after this 984, you put effectively a balanced budget. Effectively a balanced budget.
Yeah, no, I can put comma, effectively balanced budget. That's fine, but that's not Mike's point, though, I guess. What I heard Mike asking is, when I say as presented to the finance committee, that kind of connotes when we got this book. But really, these numbers reflected as we go to print. So that's what I really need to change there. I keep hitting my mouse because I got no room to put it.
I'll give you all the room you need.
I'm going to just take that sentence and I'm going to read the whole paragraph in this second, because I'm making some on-the-fly adjustments. All right, so let me read this. So that paragraph, as the Finance Committee report goes to print, the town's total budgeted fiscal year '24 revenue is projected to be $44,146,008.00 versus budget expenses of $44,145,984. In no sense, effectively a balanced budget, comma, effectively a balanced budget. As in the past several years, this year, the town is taxed to the levy limit to balance the budget. Just leave it like that. Good. All right. So if we're good with that one, moving on to strong credit rating.
Can I just make one more comment? Can I just make one more comment on that section?
Oh, sure.
So the first meeting I was in, Larry talked about how rooms and meals tax was 18% of our revenue. Heard that marijuana tax money's coming down. Should we just expand a little bit on where that 44 million's coming from? We think that might be helpful for somebody to understand. Like property taxes probably.
I see where you're going. We used to do that. We used to break it apart, property tax. We used to have a whole formula on the back of the book that broke that all down too.
Yeah, because it might be a lead into the section on for your consideration, right?
Yeah,
Because I thought the lead into that section would have been residential taxes are, picking them, 30 million, commercial taxes, industrial taxes, state aid, whatever, and so meals tax, so you get to see where the pieces are going in there.
Yeah, but then you're picking and choosing the pieces. They're never going to add up to the 44 million. We could say the major components of the revenue are
Like 80% of our income comes from,
80% of his property taxes. When broken, well, I shouldn't say it's collected to the tax base because, it's like you say, it's personal property tax, commercial, industrial, and then the personal property stuff for the people who have second home here in Sturbridge and other places that we can go, right? If you have a second home, if your primary residence is in Stoughton, but you have a house on the lake, everything in that lake house is taxable to the town of Sturbridge as personal property tax. Your primary residence is in Stoughton. So you have, that all those things factor in.
is there somewhere in here that shows what that breakdown is?
In this book, there is.
So could you reference it, like for a further breakdown of?
But
No,
is it gonna be in the book that goes to town meeting?
No. No, I see what you're saying. I completely get that the revenue section is sold short. So
And even if
I-
it's another page in the back of the book that says, see the breakdown on
When does this have to go to press?
Tomorrow.
So maybe we should be having a meeting on this very topic, on an agenda to talk about what this book should include, when we have 3 hours to talk about it instead of tonight to get this done so it goes to press tomorrow. Because this is, now we're getting into content that's hasn't been in there specifically in the past, and maybe we want to get it back in.
Well, it has been in there and it was removed.
Not
and now-
recently, but
Not
maybe
recently,
the
right.
time has come to get some of this stuff back in there.
No,
Maybe
yeah.
we should talk about it. Because I don't remember it
Yeah, it
being in
can be
there at
both.
the time I've been on here, so it's been, a lot of it's been out of there for a while.
Okay, I don't even, I
And
can go
these
back
are,
and
these are
look.
good issues that maybe.
No, it is an
Some of the
excellent
stuff
point.
has to be back in there.
We'll start our cycle talking about what this is gonna be, and then we fill in the numbers because we zip through the budget in a couple of meetings, yeah. Or this is a good off-season kind of discussion.
No, that would be,
It's
it's
gotta
an
go to print.
excellent point, though. I agree with you,
But
that
we have
the
that-
revenue side is sold short here.
When we're gonna talk about other issues, like we keep planning on doing in the fall, getting together and doing that, this could be an agenda item that we could even form a subcommittee and talk about.
What should be included
What
in
should
our
be
report.
included that has been left out in recent years.
But it is a real important point. I think you're right. I think you want to tell people, and in years where we can say, hey, I mean, we projected marijuana at $205,000 based on, a half a year's worth of income. And now reality is what was the number I said, 165 or 160?
I don't know, but I've heard that it's in general
No,
been a
it's- I gave you the
disappointment
number.
statewide. It hasn't been.
145.
145, is that what it is? I sent the
That's what it
numbers
says
to
in the
everybody.
spreadsheet that.
Yeah, that's the number.
What's that, Kate?
But if that's the number, and the original
So it's
proposition
66.
was that it was gonna be a lot more than that, people should know that.
Right,
Because-
and I think that was Chris's point.
Because did we buy a pig in a poke by doing this? I mean,
Yeah, well, I think that information generally helps with Larry and Mike's, and your paragraph about how do we make the town.
Oh, that was Mike, yeah, I know what you're saying,
Yeah,
yeah. What can we bring to town that,
Generates more income.
By the way, rather than marijuana, you should probably use cannabis.
Where did I use marijuana?
It's in the spreadsheet over there.
Yeah, but that's not getting printed, that was
Okay, I'm just saying,
for-
just as a group, we should, because marijuana has the THC and the cannabis has all the other non-effective hallucinogens, right?
Oh,
So the
okay.
stores you go into that you buy, whatever, with THC in it, they probably sell just as much without it, and the whole group together is classified as cannabis, to be accurate.
All right, so I wrote that, but that's a good point.
one more.
Right, the state has a cannabis control commission, not a marijuana control commission. So you are right.
All right,
I know my cannabis.
okay,
Credit rating?
yeah, strong credit rating.
So the word insured, I don't think is appropriate. If you change it to insured,
EN, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone already got that.
hang on.
Okay.
I don't know, it still leaves me in the end compared to what, right? So insured, we got a rate of 3.45. What if we weren't in
Wait,
AAA
wait.
plus, would it be three?
Where is insured?
Where are we?
Where are you?
Oh, you got the new version, only incurred an effective interest rate. I'm fine. Someone else address my issue.
Okay.
I haven't caught up to version 5.
It's version 3.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Great minds, Mike.
If you saw
Someday-
Larry's notes to
someday I
me,
can sit in that
you'd
chair.
be very impressed. All right, so let me just hit save here, because I probably screwed this up beyond all
I'm
recognition.
surprised you didn't put the word favorable rate on for 3.45% in there, but that's good. I'm
Well,
fine with it.
it's
Keep
really-
going. Move on.
Okay. Issues for your consideration. I mean, the only thing that's changed in there today is the last paragraph, and so I'm just gonna read it because I don't know. Since fiscal year 10, the water and sewer commissioners have used over $2.47 million in water and sewer fund balances to reduce user rates rather than accumulate the money for maintenance purposes and capital needs. Further, this lack of savings will incur additional costs now that the town has to borrow to pay for the maintenance. And that's the last paragraph now.
I had a comment on that paragraph that starts, first, the town has never charged anyone for water.
Wait, give me an idea where you are at.
Change in paying for water and sewer costs. Third paragraph,
Okay,
last sentence.
all right. Oh, all right, this is your thus, this,
Right,
okay.
it says, I'll read it. With the select board proposed change, comma, taxpayers who can't access town water are being asked to pay for a water tank because water in that tank might be used at their property for fire suppression, period. The next sentence, thus effectively charging those taxpayers for water to fight a fire, something the town has never done to anyone, is not a sentence. That's not a sentence. So what it should be is after the word fire suppression, it should be, instead of a period, it should be comma, and the next phrase should be, with not a capital T, thus, comma, effectively charging those taxpayers for water to fight a fire, something the town has never done to anyone.
That'll be a run-on sentence though, right?
Well, it is become a run-on sentence, but it's not a sentence if you just put a period and
Yeah.
stick in thus, that's not a
Yeah,
sentence.
no, you're right.
Or you could change it, you could put, you didn't have to put thus, you could put fire suppression, comma, in effect, charging those taxpayers for water to fight a fire, instead of
I would
effectively.
just say fire suppression period, then say if we were to charge general taxpayers for the
Right.
investment water tank, we would effectively be,
Yeah, putting in this charge, or words to that effect,
Yeah.
would effectively be charging that, yeah. You could, if you want to restructure it that way.
Well, I
But
would-
it isn't a sentence with the
In
word thus.
effect works. So you're saying comma, in effect, charging those tax.
Yeah, if you want to let the sentence run that long, because it is a long sentence. It's a long sentence.
It is, but I mean,
I'd be comfortable with it, I'm telling you, it's a long sentence.
Education alone increased by that.
As long
Well,
as it
actually,
sticks to-
the non-sentence is not necessary because the preceding sentence,
I think what he's saying is general.
Does the same thing.
There's two in here, and that makes. a
so
difference.
that it could read, so on and so, cadets are being asked to pay for a water tank because water in that tank might be used at their property for fire suppression, comma, which has never been done before.
yeah, okay.
You don't even need the rest
And
of
then
it.
you don't need the current last non-sentence.
So you're just saying which has never been done before.
It eliminates the
Comma,
need for all the
comma,
rest of it.
yeah, comma, which has never been
Yes.
done before.
Is it okay to end with before?
Well, you know what Churchill said, ending a sentence with a proposition is something up with which he will not put.
But this is not a proposition, it's a preposition.
Yes, no, you're exactly right, but if you want to argue with Churchill,
No,
me neither.
didn't he say
All
something
right.
about
Larry Strike is
drinking
lost.
poison
Which
tea?
has never,
So I'm not gonna get into any of the words in there, I'm generally okay with what you're doing. What I miss at the beginning here is setting the stage, right? We start with Article 33, the select board is doing this, and then I gotta read this whole thing to get to what we recommend. What?
Well, the headline,
We would have started with, in Article 33, the Finance Committee recommends, replacement of the water tank, and our motion recommends replacement of the water tank, with the cost to be funded by
User
users.
increase,
Bingo.
yeah.
Set the stage, this is where we're coming from, that's your main motion. By the way, this is alternate
then
thing
go
that's
into the
floating
select-
around.
Or you can put underneath rationale.
Well, actually, I see, but then you can go,
And then, yeah, and then, and maybe use that sense of, the payment for these costs is consistent with past practice or whatever, something that sets the stage up front. Then if you want to get into, by the way, the select board is recommending whatever, I would find ways maybe to take the select board references out in the bottom, so it's not, we're pointing fingers and having a fight
we're
with
not
them, but
making
it's just saying,
facts.
in
the
light of
other
what-
opinion, argument is the following kind of thing.
in light of what you're saying, happen to agree, the current heading could be adjusted to read, proposed change to pay for water and sewer. The key word there being the addition of the word proposed, because as it reads now, it's a declaration of fact, and that itself is what's in dispute. So proposed change and then in paying for is just
And do we know
to
what,
pay for.
do we know whether their proposal is actually gonna see the light of day at town meeting, or they're just gonna go along? So maybe is in the article, instead of a proposed whatever, recommendation for water tank.
Well, but the discussion acknowledges two separate recommendations.
Yeah, but only one goes before town meeting unless an alternate is brought forward.
Both are printed under
But
the
this-
warrant article.
Yeah, but
Only
only ours
one
is
goes before town meeting unless the
Theirs
alternate
is
is
right
brought.
there with it,
Yeah,
to
but
be
the
read.
headline introduces a discussion of both of them. So,
Okay.
Hang on, I lost that last change in this discussion. So we go back to, that thing with the thus.
So,
It should be in that, might be used at the property, which has never been done before, that's what we did.
which has never been, which the town has never done before, I think is what it was, or something like that.
All right. Now hold your thoughts on the top, because I gotta go back there. All right, so this is out. All right, let's delete and save. All right, so you're talking about changing that, the heading of that section to what?
Proposed change.
Proposed change in paying for.
Proposed change
Really
in,
water? Why, is there really a change to the sewer?
It's not a change.
How about payment for water and sewer cost considerations, or something like that? Because right here you put, the select board is proposing a drastic shift, so you're already bringing it in here.
it's dramatic.
So you-
Yeah, and this is only related to the water tank. We don't have divergence of opinion on the other articles, right? It's just a water tank article, right? So, issues for reconsideration, payment for water, St. Anne's water tank replacement, or something, right?
Yeah.
well, the argument then says
Okay,
this
costs.
can it become a precedent?
Yes. That's important.
And we're,
And then, again, the lead-in is, we recommend the following, the finance committee, recommendation, which is the motion before town meeting, is the tank should be replaced and paid for in the following manner. If you then want to acknowledge that there is another method that's being proposed and why we feel it's not appropriate, you can then continue the paragraphs that you have from there to discuss, the other proposal that's out there and why we feel it's not appropriate.
would you please clarify what it is we're trying to clarify?
I think what Mike is trying to say is he'd rather see our opening thing being, here's what the finance committee has recommended. And I mean, it could be as simple as, for Article 33 of the annual, for Stein Hill, And after the water tank replacement put in, the finance committee is recommending that we replace the tank, but that the cost should be borne by water users, period. And then,
Go to another paragraph.
and the select board is proposing a dramatic shift. Just continue on with our argument. He's just saying, start with our position first.
I want to set the stage. Here's the recommendation, here's what we recommend.
No, I understand.
You
Yeah,
might,
I agree.
you might put a sentence in the end as to why we're doing that, take the last summary sentence in the end.
Yeah, sure.
Because otherwise, you spend a lot of time talking about the select board thing, whatever, and you get to our recommendation why in the end. I just feel it's best to set the stage. Here's the action we think you should take and why.
Yeah.
Here's the other proposal that's floating around, and here's why we don't think it's appropriate.
Could I just interject for 1 second? Robin? Can she hear us? Robin? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe in watching the last select board meeting, it was brought up that what we're talking about here in terms of the paying for the water tank, and that you were going to give all the people of the selectmen, the select persons that were there that night, they were going to be provided with the timestamp on the meeting where we talked about this, so that they could watch it. I think Mary Blanchard even suggested that.
Right.
And at your next meeting of the select board, this is going to come up for discussion based on what we're proposing and what the select board had proposed. So this could change by next Tuesday night in terms of the board's.
Yeah, but we're already gonna be,
I know that, but I'm just saying, that's a possibility that they could come around to our way of thinking, couldn't they?
Yes, so right now, that is the case. They were given the timestamped information. The initial agenda is posted, but a lot of times I hear back on Thursday or Friday whether something should be added to it. So it may be an amended agenda by tomorrow afternoon. We just posted a little early. We posted today, but I may hear back or not as to whether it'd be added then. But it also could be added June 3rd because there is also a meeting. If it doesn't hit this agenda, there is also a meeting just prior to town meeting. So yes, it was left that they all wanted that information on your the timestamp, and we gave them we did give them that. And so it's possible they may or may not want to take it up again. And I just at this point I haven't spoken directly with the chair to see if we need to put it on the agenda or not for the 20th. I have not heard back yet. So there may be an amendment on that tomorrow. If not, it might be heard on the June 3rd meeting.
However, with the.
I know they just wanted to take the time to be able to review that statement that
Yeah,
Kevin had made.
Sure. Well, with the presses have to start rolling tomorrow. In the opening statement, if the chair wants to say it, depending on what, if anything, the selectmen do or don't do, simply say, printing, the printing of the book created a time warp.
It is.
And that means,
Yeah.
yeah, and that means that it was true when the presses turned.
Yeah.
Since then, and then whatever, whatever has
Explained, yes.
unfolds, we don't know now.
Makes sense.
So it's easily remedied if it needs to be remedied. Just explain, it's a time warp.
So basically, the first sentence now becomes, for Article 33 of the annual town meeting for the Stallion Hill water tank replacement, the Finance Committee recommends replacing the Stallion Hill tank, but that the cost should be borne by the water users consistent with past practices. Then we break where the select board becomes capital T in a new paragraph, and everything else goes on from there.
Or you want to put rationale or something, then put it in bold, and then.
Well, then it kind of goes through there, and
Does
your
it-
rationale applies out with the other stuff.
Okay.
I agree with that.
All right.
So again, our motion is the first motion, that's the main one that goes there. There might be an alternate form of motion in the book, from the select board, but that does not come into play
Unless they submit it to the
unless
town.
something
to the
is brought
town
to the
moderator.
town moderator.
Yeah, they would have to submit it as a substitute motion.
If they don't bring a substitute motion, it's a non-issue for discussion. We move forward.
Exactly.
That's right.
But we can't, as it stands right now, there are two opposing methods.
Yes.
One right,
Well,
the
there's
other
nothing
wrong.
saying you can't phrase it that way as of the printing of this document. Blah, blah, blah.
I would hope that
Yeah,
would be
that's the
implied.
time work.
Yeah, and you can actually put that right in there, you know, as at the time of the printing of this, this was the status.
Makes sense.
Sometimes I do that even with like my board update memos, because the memo wasn't official until the night of the meeting, and something might be happening on Monday, but I can't really say when I draft the memo on Thursday that it happened. So sometimes I'll say, you know, at the time of the drafting of this memo, blah, blah, blah.
All right. Okay, so we changed that first sentence. Anything else major in here? All right. So, use of free cash for capital stabilization,
Just the last sentence, the change I sent to you.
which is,
Would remain with the fund, comma, rather than being
You return
returned to
free
free
cash.
cash,
Yep, that's in
comma,
there.
seems financially prudent.
yep, I added that. Everything you sent, except for that dust part. But
Most
now
of-
the dust part's gone.
Well, most of what I sent was grammatical.
So that was one or two comments I have. The word seems in there just is weak. We're doing it because it seems right, right? As opposed to doing it because this is the financially prudent way to do, or
Oh,
this is
okay.
a better way, you know.
I'm with you
Is
with that.
financially
Yeah,
prudent.
is would be a better word, yeah.
Where are you?
Where is this from?
Last
What,
paragraph.
the one I just did. Instead of free cash, comma, seems, it would be free cash, comma, is
Is
financially
financially
prudent.
prudent,
Perfect.
rather
Yeah, 'cause
than
we-
might be, or something.
I'm with
Right, that's a much stronger.
Stronger.
So if you go up the last full line of the sentence before that, or it says.
The paragraph
Yeah,
before?
paragraph.
Okay.
Actually, sentence starts, like the capital planning committee, we also agree that the town administrator and finance director continue to take, it almost feels like it should say, should continue to take into account the
Want to put the word should in there instead? I don't care, I mean,
to me, it read awkward with, that something was missing in there, and I thought the word should go in there.
Yeah,
I agree.
I sent that, like you, I sent it to Kevin. It should be a word like should in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, so where is should?
right after finance director.
Okay.
Finance director should continue to take into account.
Okay. Added. All right,
Makes it
quality of life. That's, I mean, you've actually already talked about this one already once. All right, so warrant articles,
So I missed that, so you're gonna, just add that. We talked about Sturbridge being a bedroom community, I don't know if that's an appropriate characterization, right? Bedroom communities are, and, you know, Holland, Broomfield, things like that. Communities that are residential in nature, very sparse support of, you know, needs
Suburban?
in the town, you know.
Suburban community?
If you can almost take out the qualification language at all in there, right? The neighborhood communities threaten Sturbridge with mounting traffic and other permanent pressures, so without characterizing the type of community we are.
Well, the idea, Mike and I talked about it, was mounting traffic where there's already a lot of traffic, the increment isn't going to be noticeable. Here, it's, well, we all know how it is, and we see the specter. Well, in order for there to be a specter in the piece of writing, it has to establish what would be mounted. And so that's why the idea of a bedroom could be suburban. WRTA, Worcester Regional Transit Authority, by definition, says that Sturbridge is semi-rural. That way, if there is a WRTA bus, it does not have declared stops. You can flag the driver at any place. So there is, you know, there are very few non-rural mailboxes. I don't think there are any post office walking routes. Those are earmarks of a kind of community other than the one we have.
Could we use perhaps the word residential community, mainly a residential community?
Sure.
Do you think does
Yeah,
that
that's
weaken
a-
what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it is, no question. If that's the view of the committee, that's fine. I think I can speak for Mike McGlone,
Yeah.
that he would agree.
Just stick with bedroom.
Bedroom, well, we're a bedroom community for Worcester, basically, right? It's got a big city.
But again, bedroom, you know, it all depends, again, how you interpret.
Brimfield.
We're a community,
12,000
we've
people.
got residential stuff, but we also have a tourist-based economy over here, we've got commercial stuff to support the community. Right, so it's not a bedroom community, because you can do your shopping in town and do whatever else, we've got some industrial stuff in here, so it's not just a sleepy little residential town, we've got those other mixes. So, that's all. If you have to qualify it, find another word, otherwise, you know, if you take the qualifier out, I don't think it changes the impact of what you're trying to say. We've got all these other towns with stuff going on, and we're getting the traffic impacts associated with that. So why don't we seek opportunities, you know, in town here?
But Larry, one of the arguments you're trying to make is we need to convert from mainly a bedroom community to one that has a larger industrial base. Is that why?
There's industry and there's industry.
A clean industry.
Yeah, that's why biotech is single.
No, I understand. I was just thinking, is that why you're specifying bedroom community in that first paragraph? Because you want to transition the town to something else. You want to face these threats of more traffic. We need to go look at other sources of income. And we're
Which are
concerned.
themselves not high generators of traffic either.
So I thought your argument was twofold. One, we got other towns around us developing, and we're getting the traffic without the benefits of that.
Correct.
And two, this ties back to your earlier discussion, 20% of our budget is paid by hotel, motel taxes, commercial and residential. Should that shift or decline, the shift comes back to residential taxpayers. So we want to find a way to reinforce and buttress and add to that piece to take the burden off. And that piece didn't come across in this.
Well, diversify the base and widen it. That's harder to knock over. But what Jim just a moment ago suggested, primarily residential.
Okay, that's whatever.
So you're gonna say,
It certainly isn't industrial, or, and it's got a commercial segment,
I agree, yeah.
but not a,
Yeah, we're
not even light manufacturing. We
No,
don't
we're
even
not
have
trying
that.
to
Or community likes to, you know, emphasize its residential character or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. And we're not looking to bring in the plant to build Studebakers, you know, it's,
No?
so it becomes, which is mainly a residential community.
yeah.
Okay, I can live with that.
All right.
The other one I had,
I think if we have a business or development person, right, budgeted for, I think we talked at one meeting. So when I read this, and one of the things that jumped out was a specialized website. So you're basically saying, let's get a specialized website to attract executives or focus or target executives who don't know about Sturbridge and say, hey, wake up, look what this town has to offer. Then they come in with word proposal and the Studebaker goes away, and a biotech clean facilities is what we say, yeah, makes sense on 20, 131 or whatever.
Sure,
Yeah, that's what I got out of this.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
so the paragraph about the healthcare, biomedical sectors, whatever, we went from a broad discussion of let's, you know, make Sturbridge attractive and bring in the appropriate level, whatever, to, we want biotech, healthcare, these are great companies. We didn't have a discussion with the planner as to, you know, do we really have to support systems? Is the infrastructure that these people are looking for, you know, how does this fit in here? And we kind of zeroed in and lasered on these types of industries, as opposed to saying these are types of things that we should make attractive, or other businesses with certain qualities, because it almost seems like, you know, go out here on a hunt for biotech and type companies, but forget everything else around that one, as opposed to cast a wide net. You know, the net could include these, but they could include other companies that have high-paying jobs, clean environments, and so forth, that meld into the community.
It would be unflattering and I think unbecoming, and I don't think the Finance Committee would want to say that these, the sectors that are mentioned are typically high income, high education with certain kinds of expectations, because it is getting kind of snooty sounding However, given a choice, wouldn't we rather have those who build $800,000 houses and pay the taxes of an $800,000 house, instead of trying to retrofit somehow triple deckers? So we're not ruling anything out. We are, Mike and I, recommending the sectors mentioned because there is UMass Memorial, the medical school across from the street, Plantations is Biotech 1, 2, 3, and I think 4. They need suppliers. And they'd rather not pay transportation from Taiwan, So that's what is behind what is said and what is not said.
What you can do, you said for example, so what you have to say is the ever-growing high-tech, for example, healthcare, for example, not, these are the focused only, for example,
That's
like these type of industries.
Just examples of it.
Yeah, there's just
There's no
simple.
evidence that they're going to evaporate as sectors. And it'd take an awful lot of antiques shops to make up for what one small biotech lab could do.
Oh, no question.
The other approach is to go back and take a look at the skill set, educational, the skill sets of the folks who live in town, and try to find businesses to support those skill sets in here. And it may not be the high, it could be something that, maybe they only need $300,000 houses instead of $800,000 houses, but they enable folks to continue to live in town. And
I would agree with you if there were a solution to this, this population is a slow motion turnover. You bring in infrastructure that's going to last for a century. What happens when they don't fit?
All right, if you get somebody who can tie in a water system and take a little more water and ease the pain for other folks, that'd be good.
No, they come in with their own desalinization.
I might be ignorant here, but I basically heard a lot of sound and fury, but we got nothing out of that. We're not changing anything.
That's what I call a chair.
One word.
If you want to move, for example, ahead, or leave it where it is.
Residential from bedroom.
We agreed to
Oh, we
move
did
it
make
for
that,
example,
you're right,
for-
I'm sorry.
Don't say nothing.
I was trying to quote Shakespeare sort of a bit there.
We're doing Churchill tonight, not Shakespeare.
Done with the rest, I'll be quiet.
So we're gonna take out, for example, at the end.
We can just put in the beginning, for example,
all I did,
healthcare,
yeah.
biotech, that,
All right. All right, so moving on, warrant articles.
by the way, if you want to change the 2.5%, if you want an accurate number, if you want to do the compounding for 10 years, it's actually exactly 28%. 25 to 30, you can leave it there, it makes no difference to me. Falls in the middle.
Because if it isn't 28%, someone will call it out.
That it is. I did the math. My computer did the math.
Warrant articles, accounting system, meeting schedule, and that's what we talk. Here's another place where we kind of break it down, but we don't. We talk about line item budget, 42 warrant, annual town meeting, 5 special town meetings, but I think we really should break down further in our explanation. Take that up next year. The only thing I was uncertain on this one, everything got alphabetized like we normally do, but MC, do you want MC or do you want your full name?
MC is fine.
Okay. All right, so that gets us finally through the report of the Finance Committee. Moving along.
Before we do that, can I just figure out, because I could see Alyssa writing 6 pages of minutes for what we're doing here, trying to capture all
Oh,
the
there's nothing to
conversation.
really take minutes,
Yes,
notes for.
I know, I expect this will be 3 paragraphs. Well, and, I'll even show you.
Or just saying the Finance Committee reviewed it and made some edits that
And
will
they
get
added-
reflected.
And they discussed style issues, grammar changes, clarification.
Exactly.
reversing,
Okay.
Condensing, restructuring, additions, eliminations.
Yeah, that's all
Ended up
perfect.
changing
I'm
nothing.
taking one word from each 5 paragraphs.
There you go.
We're good.
That's basically,
You're good.
All right, so let's see, what's changed recently here? And now, you should have noticed, and Barbara and I went, and I discussed it with Barbara, and we're good. Everywhere I saw the word Board of Selectmen, whether they were in warrant articles or in, you know, in the borrowing motions, they've all been changed to Select Board.
Or two words.
2 words.
Yep.
Everywhere. And Barbara confirmed with the borrowing council, that, the bond council, that that language is good. So everywhere in here, you should not see the word selectmen at all.
So can I ask Robin, the select board, have they posted the warrant yet? Or this version with these word changes will be what gets posted?
No, I will.
This is what gets posted. This will be
Yeah, I'm
posted.
gonna send them tomorrow. I send, well, officially, everyone gets like the official, we're pleased to present you this thing, but I also send directly to the town clerk. She wants Word and PDF copies of both. And that's always how we've done it.
That might have been how.
She posts that, she will post that publicly on Monday, and Monday evening is all set up to get the board signatures for the official, warrant sign-off.
Kathy had a question. Did we change it to select board on the line item budget where it
Yes.
appears?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That would be too difficult.
Well, no, that was your suggestion.
It was?
Yeah.
I thought it was I thought I put accept there. I don't know, I don't remember.
Oh, no, you know, I went and changed it there, so it says select board. Okay.
I thought it
So,
would be too difficult.
I'm trying to think of anything else that sticks out. There's the double printed line I can't figure out how to get rid of, and Mike's tried a lot here to try and get rid of the green box, since it won't print, no one cares.
Did you take care of this on the next one?
Kevin, I have tried so hard to get rid of that double line. I have done everything I can think of with Word to do that, and I
know
cannot
exactly
find
what you
where it's
need.
embedded.
Oh, I know what you need to do. You need to delete it. You need to delete the whole table, and there's a table under it, but I didn't want to take a chance of making a mistake on deleting the table. So I'm just gonna go with the double line.
Show it to me later.
Next year, we're just gonna have to completely delete the table, and I will retype a whole new one in.
Yeah. Go ahead. What were you saying, Article 7?
Article 7.
Yeah, you right here, Farquhar Roads?
Yeah, you had to add
Yes,
an S
I did,
in the
yeah.
box.
I
Because
did.
that's how it appeared up above in the motion.
Yeah, I got roads in there. Okay, thank you.
For Article 2,
2, all right.
actually, in the little summary box, you say it's Appendix A,
Yeah,
but it's not labeled as Appendix A.
it should be. Hang on a second.
The version I have.
Don't scare me like
When
that.
I printed out, it didn't show, so.
It says Appendix A at the top of the page.
Okay,
It didn't print on, did you open it in Acrobat or?
I don't know what I
If you
did.
don't, sometimes it'll eliminate a whole
Okay,
line.
never mind.
Oh, no, it's a good point that you don't see it. No, we want to catch stuff like that.
I've had that happen.
And,
Yeah, you said that.
and while we're on Appendix or Exhibit A, is this still A?
Appendix A is 2 pages long.
Okay, the second page, it does mention the Lucy Danforth Coleman sign.
Yeah, because it's still proposed out there until the town meeting acts on it,
Okay, all right,
Or it takes no action.
or takes no action on it. Well,
okay, and then, yeah, on the first, okay, so it does show up, okay. Thank you.
no problems. All right, so let's see what else we got hanging around here. 3, I'm trying to, I can't think of anything under the select board changes that were major. Was there any of the summary boxes anyone wants to make changes to? Our little explanation that is at Article 33 before we send people to the front of the book?
This one,
You know, that is,
five books in it.
so, that's there. Okay. Then I guess we're gonna call the annual town meeting warrant good to go? All right.
I think, the other thing I was gonna say on 33, since you brought that up again, is, and it kind of struck me, was that it is expected that such debt will be paid for, expected. I mean, that means like,
Yeah, so.
I expect to go home tonight, you know, without going through a light and somebody hitting me with a fire truck.
I don't think you're right. I mean, the borrowing is always a general obligation of the town. And what we're saying is, we're expecting water users to do it, but if for some reason they don't, or there isn't enough money to pay for it, it still becomes a general obligation of the town. So that's the language that comes from the bond council that allows us to point towards, that's where we expect to get the money. but it is a general obligation of town.
So one way or the other, they know we're gonna get paid for it.
Yes,
Our
yes.
obligation is gonna be covered one way or the other, but, okay, it's, okay.
So I-
Legalese type of thing, I guess?
All right, so,
Okay.
special town meeting warrant, what changed here, other than, the select board change? We read it already. I don't think there was anything else really that stuck out here. I did write a summary for Article 60, since I didn't get one, and I kind of based it off our comments. It's like a very simple statement, so. That's basically what we discussed, so.
In the previous years, do I remember correctly that we have one master motion to approve? We've done dozens of specifics, but we haven't said all of it at once. I think in previous years, we have moved, seconded, voted, that the entire document is now ready for recommendation.
Oh, yeah, we could.
Um,
I don't remember ever doing it.
Yeah, I
mean,
thought we did. Well, maybe I dreamt it.
I mean, I can just go look last year.
No, we didn't do it last year. I don't recall.
I don't remember ever doing that, but that's,
You need these last year's thing?
no, I'm looking at my minutes from last year.
Well, okay.
Doesn't mean it didn't happen, Larry.
Right, so, and I might continue my argument, the warrant really is a selectman document, not our document, but we're, you wanted to say, because we need to even have our comments in there, that it's our piece.
Yeah, sure.
I hear.
Yeah, I don't see one, but I don't,
Well,
it doesn't matter, we can make an official one. All right, so we're good with the STM, the way it looks, so I'm gonna save that. All right, what else have I got here?
What version do you want to call these for minute purposes? ATM warrant?
I would be working, or I guess I would be working off the draft 3 of the fiscal year 25 for this meeting.
April 18th.
And I've been editing the actual, the articles that will compose draft,
I read them.
well, basically the final draft. So I would say we were working off a draft 3 of the fiscal year 25 report of the Finance Committee. All right. So I think that gets us through the report of the Finance Committee. This is the last chance for anyone to say anything before Larry makes his set in stone motion.
I'm trying to think what would the wording be.
You can just basically, we'll go unaffected that, if I'll make a motion that we adopt all, the recommendation, the report of the Finance Committee as discussed in tonight, or something like that.
Yeah, okay, let's see, how does this sound then? I move that the Finance Committee recommend to the annual town meeting the sum total of all prior votes conducted for this budget year, fiscal year.
As reflected in our report?
Yeah, good, yeah, sure.
So you're going back, you're not, your motion doesn't have us approve or adopt the report. You're just saying all the articles and whatever in there are okay, but the message up front and so forth.
That, and if somehow we have missed something, the town council has missed something, we've approved everything, and that can be plucked out, changed if it came to that. I don't think it will. It's never happened in my knowledge, such as that is. It just seems like a tidy wrap-up. We're confirming what we did piecemeal. The Republic will stand if we don't do this. I'm just suggesting that it could be done.
Yeah, I hope so.
So why don't,
I withdraw the motion.
Specific versus, we
There's
just.
no
adopted
motion on the
what
floor, I withdrew it. Somebody else wants to put one on, fine.
we've done. Okay. I'm not so sure I need one, but if someone wants to make one, I'd come up with some other language.
I mean, I don't ever remember us actually like officially adopting the
No,
report.
fine.
It is the report, it's the reflection of all the work we've done. Okay. I am screwing stuff up here left and right. I gotta leave, get out of those. All right. So let's see, that's done. We have the minutes of April 18th that were sent out on May 13th for everybody's review. I mean, I didn't see anything that stuck out to me.
Me neither.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Okay.
I second.
All right. Jim and Kathy, as presented.
MC.
MC.
Oh, MC, I'm sorry. I haven't got the voice down yet.
Why I speak enough.
That's pres- You got, oh, okay. Any further comments on the April 18th minutes? All those in favor? And,
And I wasn't here.
yes, you're abstaining.
I'm abstaining, yeah.
Okay. 602, you were absent, so you have to
Yeah,
abstain too.
abstain.
602.
So Larry,
Chris and Larry. All right, so that gets that out of the way, and I can put a check mark and take that off the list. All right, any new business?
I have a general question.
Sure.
I asked Kathy already. I've traveled Griffin Road at least 3 or 4 times, and I still can't find that marker we approved.
I live over there, I drove down it, I
Can you
can't find
find
it
it?
either.
You gotta,
Is it in the woods?
it's in, it's in an overgrown area.
Okay.
The way to tell is if you look at that picture they presented to us, you can kind of see the red shed of one of the homes in the back.
Okay, it's all the way up towards Fitzgerald Road,
It's not all the way, it's actually on that little dirt road.
to the left.
You
First, you gotta go to the left.
If you're coming up from the gas station, yes, you gotta go left.
Done it a couple
How far up after you take a left is that?
It's pretty far, it's almost till you get to Cecil's.
Okay.
it's sitting, sitting by a tree over there on the left-hand side.
It's kind of overgrown.
Alright.
It's kind of like in a thrush of overgrown
I'll
stuff.
try again.
We're running into each other looking for.
Put eyes on it.
Persistent.
Huh?
You're persistent.
I wouldn't drive that road more than once.
Yeah, that's why it's gotten real
One
bad
side's
with the
about
red.
this deep on one
Yeah,
side.
it's gotten pretty bad.
I'm just curious.
No, that's fine. All right, old business? Public access? All right, I guess the one last piece of information, right, is this will go to print. I'm expecting it to take about a week when it's available. I'll let everybody know so you can get a copy. And so the town meeting is 7 PM on June 3rd. At this point, I don't see any need for us to have a meeting prior to that thing, because there's nothing really up in the air for us. And then just remember that the dress code is business dress for the town meeting for us.
Sport coat, no tie.
I'm willing to go with that, but a coat would be weird.
Kevin likes a tie, I haven't worn a tie in years, so
I don't want to see someone showing up in sneakers, shorts, in an Under Armour t-shirt. Which has happened in the past, not by us.
But we did have one year, we're all duded up, and there's one member sitting in his sweatshirt and jeans.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. All right, so I just wanted to lay that out there. Anything else anyone wants to bring up before we ask for a motion for adjournment? I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And do I have a second? Chris?
Okay.
All right, all those in favor? And that's at
8:39.
8:39. So thank you all.
Good job.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Barbara.